Hello and welcome to the Nerd Ninja Horror Show. I am your Fright Master, Freddy Ruiz. With me as always is my co-host Ash Von Horror. And guys, it has been an insane month, let alone the past 48 hours for horror. So many things to talk about. I am so ready for this. It has been a day of insanity at my comic book store. I'm ready to talk all things horror. Ash, how about you? You ready for some horror talk?
Of course I am. I know we have a full show lined up for today, talking some Dog Soldiers and the Taking of Deborah Logan, along with our home video release of the week. But first, we're going to talk some Insidious. So go ahead and get us started, Freddie.
Recently, guys, we got some information that not only would we be getting a new Insidious film, but we finally got a director, Adam Robital. If you don't know the name, he did the movie The Taking of Deborah Logan. Also, if you remember our Adam Green episode where we talk about the film Chillerama, there's a segment in that film called I Was a Teenage Werebear, where Adam Robital played a jock who did some very questionable things to the werebear community. This guy is pretty crazy. I love The Taking of Deborah Logan. We'll be talking about that a little bit later, but first we thought we'd take a recap on the Insidious franchise. So we'll start off with the first Insidious film, directed by James Wan and written by Lee Winnell. In Insidious, we get the story of Josh and Renee Lambert, who just moved into their home for a fresh start with their children, Dalton, Foster, and Callie. Very soon, dark figures appear in the household, and one day the Lambert's son, Dalton, simply does not wake up. They eventually have to turn to a spiritual clairvoyant and her team, as nothing is medically wrong with him, and they soon find out it's not where they live, but what lives inside of Dalton that is the true danger to them. Now, Ash, I know there was a lot of resistance met with me on this episode because you hate Insidious. I personally think the Insidious films, the first two at least, which we'll get to that, are genius films. Let's hear what you have to say about Insidious.
It's a good concept. The story,
It's a great concept.
The story can work. It's just the execution that I find disappointing. The first time I watched it, I actually fell asleep and I had to rewatch it.
Why'd you find the execution wrong, though?
I don't know if it's the actors. Like, I like Patrick Wilson for the most part, but there's some cases where I can't stand him. And I cannot stand, I forgot her name completely, but the woman who plays the mother, I think her name's Rose something.
Rose Byrne, yeah.
Yes, I can't stand her. I don't know
Really?
why. She's one of those people that just makes me abnormally violent for some odd reason when I see
God.
her. And I love Barbara Hershey, who also is in The Entity. If y'all have not seen The Entity, you totally need to watch that movie. But, like, overall, I just don't know if it's the way they are acting or the way they react to what's going on. I can't really explain why, but I was disappointed. And it was also really hyped up for the most part. And then everybody's talking about the demon. And that's what ruined it for me. Everybody's talking about the demon. Oh, this demon's so scary. It was Darth Maul on meth.
Okay, I hate that thing, though, where everyone's like, oh, it's just Darth Maul. It's not.
Like Darth
It
Maul.
is called the Lipstick Demon. It is one of my favorite things because it is a demon that is so entranced with being in the human world that it does not understand the concepts of dressing itself. So the reason it's got the red all over him, like Darth Maul, he actually takes lipstick and puts it all over his face because he does not understand
Serial killer style.
any other. Yeah, he doesn't understand any other way. But also, Ash, so what I'm getting from this here, and I know you're going to hate me for this, but what I'm getting is you don't like the actors, not the story and the movie
concept and the
itself.
story. It's just, maybe it's the actors that kind of ruined it for me. I can't really put my finger on it. It's just, I think they could have done better with somebody else. And it's not the directing or anything. I think it might be the
James
actors.
Wan's an awesome
Yeah, because I
director,
like
personally.
James Wan. And I watch a lot of his movies, and I enjoy most of his movies. But these films did not work for me.
See, for me, I went, just did not think of anything of it, just went and saw it in a theater, and I was like, all right, another haunted house movie. I was a big Amityville Horror fan, the original one, of course, and I thought, why not? Let's just check it out. So, was it like 15, 20 minutes into the movie, the house is haunted, and they're like, let's get out. It was so quick, and I really responded to that because I thought, okay, these people...
It's a little realistic.
Yeah, it's more realistic. They're just, let's get out of here. And then it became the idea of the haunting wasn't the house, it was more of the people itself. And the people were haunted, and that's what brought actually
A personal
everything
haunting
into it.
versus an object being haunted.
Sea War Cats. Lipstick Demon is not its actual name. That's what they joked about it being called. The demon was a demon who could not actually figure out how to be in the human world. So it would take lipstick and didn't understand the concept. It would put it all over its face, Buffalo Bill style. And that was kind of awesome. That's actually played by the the composer of the film, which I thought that
He
was
also
pretty
worked,
awesome.
if I'm not mistaken, he also worked on Devil's Carnival. And
He
Repo.
did work on Devil's Carnival as well. What the other thing I really love about this movie is the concept of the further, because you haven't really gotten. I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is just a Poltergeist ripoff. I'm kind of fine with some concepts of that because we didn't really get too much into, I guess, the afterlife with Poltergeist. It was the
not very much.
It was the ghost coming into our world. So with the further, we got to explore going into that world. And this was actually the further was the original title of the movie, and you also had a whole edit of the movie, which I thought this was kind of interesting, where Patrick Wilson's character, when he was in the further, he would float everywhere. So they shot the whole movie with him. Practical effects, by the way, on strings, floating everywhere. And I thought that was
bobbing around.
that was pretty cool. So, you know, I'm really big on this movie. Also, Lee Winnell, he sat at a desk and had Post-it notes everywhere of what has already been done in a haunted house film.
Which
And
is a lot.
yeah, and so every time he would come to a point where this was the cliche that we have, he would change it up. And that's what I loved about it, is you would take one thing and he would turn it into something else.
Try
And-
to avoid making it the same as everything else.
Exactly. And then Lee Winnell, actually, he played Specs, and he brought a lot to that character, I thought, with the dynamic of Specs and Tucker.
Yeah.
Because the two of them together, it was just so awesome. And Tucker also is played by, they're both Kiwi, I believe, New Zealand. And so it's kind of cool to see them talking in interviews and stuff like that, because the guy who played Tucker, he kind of sounds like hardcore Kiwi guy.
The
And he
accent's really thick.
It's
and
really thick, so it's kind of cool to see them, you know, they put a lot into that, and I really appreciated that. The other thing I thought was cool, and this leads us into the second film a little bit, which we'll get to in a little bit, Philip Friedman played the old woman in black that haunted everyone at the end of the movie. They never intended for that to be a thing to lead in, oh, that's going to go into the storyline of part 2. It was literally, it's kind of creepier if it's a dude for no reason, just dressing up like a woman.
Just a dude dressed up as a woman.
Yeah, especially a creepy old Victorian woman.
The woman, the lady in black reminds me a lot of Mary Shaw from Dead Silence.
Exactly. When they directed that movie too, James Wan and Lee Winnell wrote it.
Reminds me so much of that, and I love Dead Silence. And then I saw this movie, and I'm just like, there's too much similarities in there, right there. Like, I know that they do that with all their movies and stuff, but still, I wasn't even scared of that character either.
Well, I never go in thinking, that's the one thing
Well,
I never...
I don't go in thinking I'm gonna get scared.
Yeah.
Because at 3 a.m, Chucky could scare me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, I go into movies and I try to ignore the hype. And I watched this one when I was home. A friend brought it over and they're like, hey, let's watch this. I fell asleep, had to wake myself back up, rewatch it again. And as I'm sitting there, I'm getting angry rather than getting scared or whatever, because especially with the way they react. And like, I understand when you're scared, people react differently, but I felt like some of the way they handled things was just frustrating, I guess would be a word.
Are you talking about the characters' reactions to the demons and stuff?
Like the mother mostly, just I feel like she was just stupid. Like, you hear something in your kid's room, so oh yeah, let's take our sweet time going over there rather than get there, and then when you finally do get there, all hell breaks
Well,
loose.
yeah, but I'm thinking
If
more
I
of
hear
she's...
a voice in my child's room, you're gonna best bet that I'm gonna go through that door.
But
she's like-
she's freaking out about it, though. You got
Well,
that's
yes,
the other thing.
everybody freaks. But
Not
still,
everyone's
but if your
you, Ash.
kid is in, if your child's being threatened,
Yeah.
mama bear or something should set in. Adrenaline should kick in. I mean, you got women in reality that have actually like lift cars off their child and everything, and you have this woman screaming and beating on the door because she can't get it open. I'm like, dude, trust me, I would have gotten that door open. Like, I did not like the way she reacted.
Pried it open with
Like-
her bare hands.
Freaking Jack Torrance that thing open for all
Oh
I
my
care,
God.
but to get the door open, I just didn't like the way she reacted, and like just them in general just frustrates me.
I mean, at this point in the game, almost every single character in a horror franchise is doing something stupid like that.
Oh yeah,
Es-
you got plenty.
Yeah, but the thing that really draws me to these films are the poltergeist story behind it, and the way they portrayed the ghosts in this one. One of my favorite prime examples is they put a lot into these movies that you don't see the first viewing. There are several points that it's not even a play off of, oh my God, there's a ghost in the background, it's going to do something later. It's just there. One of my favorite parts being when they move into the second house, Rose Byrne's character is doing a walkthrough, Renee, and she's just walking through, and as she's walking through, there is a ghost kid just in the corner, not moving.
See, now that's a little
That
creepy
was
because
freaky as
kid
hell.
ghosts are always a big no-no.
Yeah.
If you see a kid ghost, leave.
But she doesn't notice it, and it doesn't play till like way later. And in the sequels after that, they do that a lot more. Where it's just ghosts in corners and stuff like that, and then they'll disappear when you come back around. So it's for the audience to notice, not the characters in the
family.
film. And the first time that character is in there, I love it too because I'm a huge American Horror Story fan, and as much crap as people give Freak Show, Meep, Meep the geek, the one that bites the heads off chickens, he plays the little kid the first time they go through the house, and he's just standing there, not moving at all. Oh my God, it is so freaky. That was a moment where I was just so into it.
Yeah, I don't know. And then another thing that annoys me with the movies is the loud noises. Like, I'm one of those people that's more triggered by sound than I am visually. Like, you could throw a 7-foot demon at me all you want. You could throw that Darth Maul demon at me all you want, and I'm not gonna flinch. You do that loud boom every time something pops up, I'm going to automatically jump because I'm triggered by sound. And that's another thing that annoys me so bad with these films is that the overuse of that boom constantly. Like, people complain about Paranormal Activity doing that, but with Insidious, it's so loud that it's like your ears cringe involuntarily.
I never really thought of anything like that.
Watch
that was
through
just
it,
me
and
personally.
if you watch through it, you'll
I
start
watched
noticing.
through, man,
Like every time I watch these films, or anytime they pop back open, I'm just like, okay, fine, I'll watch it, and I try to like it. I try, but I just can't. And those loud booms annoy me more than anything as well. Like,
It's loud booms.
I don't like those loud booms.
There you have it, folks. Insidious Part 1, unliked by Ash because of loud booms.
And then we go on to part 2 of the
Which is
Insidious
the best
franchise.
one.
We are flung right into the aftermath of the first film. Elise has been killed by Josh, whose astral spirit is still missing, and his body has been taken over by the Lady in Black, who has haunted him as a child. Elise's death has raised many questions for Tucker and Specs, who investigate further into the past hauntings. At the same time, the Lamberts, now living with Josh's mother, are still being haunted by spirits, but are they malevolent or warning the family of true evil residing in Josh's body?
What did you think going into the second one then?
I thought the second one was better.
What did that for you? That because the second one is my favorite one of the entire franchise.
I can't, it just, it's so hard to put it into words.
She's can't take it.
The frustration, I'm still gonna clarify right now. I still don't like any of these films, but if you have me pick one that's the better of them, I'm gonna say the second one. I feel like it was
right.
better executed. The characters were a little less annoying. I felt like the mom was actually kind of stepping up this time. I like the fact that he's not himself, and you're really not sure. Like, you're kind of watching it like, wait, is he or is he not? Is he or is he not? And then you're learning the backstory of who that demon is. And I'm more into the further part of this, the
the
films.
further
I'm
plays
more
a much bigger part in
I
this one,
like
too.
that part of the concept of the story versus what's happening to the people, because I like the bad guys. So.
Well, and this one especially gives us a whole new level that we haven't seen in anything else. It's the idea of a human haunting a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Because Parker Crane, the ghost character that has haunted Josh his whole life, has taken over Josh's body. Josh's spirit is stuck in the further. And the entire time that the house is being haunted and Parker Crane and Josh's body is trying to say, there's no one haunting us, there's no one haunting us, the rest of the family, you find out that the one haunting them is Josh himself.
Yeah,
his
when
spirit.
it shows when it goes through the house again, and you're seeing everything that you saw in the first film, but instead you're seeing it from the other point of the view.
And it plays with the further being almost a time travel thing. And that was what was so awesome to me, was you never will see anything like that in any other film. It stepped up the game, it changed some of the rules, and it gave us more.
See, I think that's what made me like it a little bit more. It stood out versus the first one. It stood out more. I was less aggravated as I was watching it.
You gotta admit, though, the first one still stood out. The second one just stood out the most. There's no other haunted house film like Insidious.
Thank God.
Oh my God, whatever. But in practical effects wise too,
yes.
All the ghosts are practical effects. Half the time they're pulling James Winnet.
And I like that they're very simple.
Yes.
But they're still effective. Like, some of them, okay, besides Darth Maul Demon, I'm going to forever call him Darth Maul Demon on meth. Besides him and the Lady in Black, which still has that Mary Shaw feel to it, which I love Mary Shaw, like I said earlier.
Same director and writer.
But I like that the ghosts or the demons, whatever you want to call them in the films, are so simple looking, because I consider that more scarier than when they're all made up and they're all grotesque. These are so simple that it's creepy.
Well, and they're based off Carnival of Souls, and they kind of go with a little bit of the Del Toro thing of their images trapped in time, except they're more into that than Del Toro stuff even, because they will freeze frame. And then they'll come back to life and freeze frame.
Yeah, or like when when he's walking past them and they're all sitting in the thing just smiling. And then they go back normal face, smile, back normal face.
It's so insane. And I love the fact, too, you get... James Wan and Lee Winnell are such big geeks in the horror community in L.A. They know all the directors. They got Mike Mendez, who made Big Ass Spider, of all things, to be one of the ghosts in Insidious Chapter 2. And so they would just get their friends off the street. Half of them are big giants in their own right of the genre community in LA, and that's what I thought was really cool. It was a family affair in a sense with a big budget feel.
Hey, we need you to come in and just sit here and look creepy.
Exactly, and they did it perfectly. And one of my favorite scenes, dear God, is when you see Parker Crane as a little girl dressed up, because you find out his backstory of his mom would dress him up psycho-like, just like in the Psycho films, put him on the bed. Tucker and Specs go in, and these rocking horses start rocking, and they freak out, and this little girl just pops up on the bed and says, "If she sees you, she'll make me kill you." And they just back out slowly.
You kind of feel bad for the demon.
You really do, because Parker Crane
if it
taking
wasn't
over,
for his mother,
sadistic, crazed mother, yeah.
he would have been not a serial killer.
And it's the other thing too, is it's like Psycho as a ghost story. And that's what was really cool to me as well.
Yeah, 'cause I think that's probably why I liked it a little bit more, because you get more of that backstory. And when it comes to horror films, I feel like sometimes they don't give you enough backstory on the villains, I guess would be a way to put it.
They never really want to do that.
Yeah, they don't want to. But then you got people like me who want that backstory just a little bit. Just give us
nine
something.
movies later with Friday the 13th Part 10.
Yeah, and then, you get the ridiculous sequels, which I'll get to that later
I
as
do
well.
love ridiculous sequels, though.
I can handle some. As of, recent times, usually I can't.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Well, and the other thing I love, too, as we were talking about the Further earlier, my favorite line is when Elise takes Josh and Carl into the Further. And she goes, "Into the Further we go." And there's this epic shot with the light as they're walking into it. And I swear to God, it was evoking classic Alice Through the Looking Glass kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That right there was just the moment that cemented this movie as an amazing film to me. So, and the other thing, too,
executed, really.
Now, you were saying earlier that you didn't like Patrick Wilson as a character. You didn't like his
because I
acting.
like him in Conjuring. I could stand him in that. Watchmen's another thing.
Oh,
but I don't know what it was about him in the first film. Like, he's one of those faces. Have you ever, just looked at an actor and you're just like, dude, really? Like, you can't put it into words why this person's aggravating you, but they're just being there, existing to annoy you. That's how I am with him. You are
a sadistic, evil person, I hope you know.
I am adorable and loving. But
Hope for Death, by the way, says, "Hi there, everybody. Hi there, Hope for Death."
Yeah, he's just one of those characters that just, you don't care what happens to them, really. And then in the second one, I felt a little bit more sympathy towards him, but he's
You
still...
have to give the man this as an actor.
As an actor, at least
he plays two different characters in the film.
That's why I like him better in this one, because it's technically not him.
Well, as Parker Crane, his flesh is deteriorating the whole time.
Especially the bathroom scene.
Oh, the bathroom scene where he's taking his teeth out. That was epic makeup effects, by the way, but also the performance really goes through with that. And it's very simple makeup, not just makeup effects. They had a wardrobe and makeup person just come in and do bags under his eyes, aging him 5 years every day. And he really sells
I'm not saying he's a bad actor. He has his moments, but
he shines through in this one. You have to admit that.
That's what I'm saying. In the first one, I can't say him. In the second one, I like him more because technically it's not him. It's the ghost or demon, whatever you want to call them. It's Lady in Black. It's not him. And I think that's why I like it a little bit more, because you get that meaner character. You get the more aggressiveness. You get that, "Why are you doing this?" type thing.
Why
and then
are you doing this to
"Why
the
are you doing this
world?"
to us? And then and then she's sitting there slowly figuring out, especially when she plays the song for him and he doesn't recognize it. And that's when it dawns on her that that's probably not her husband. I'm like, dude, I would have noticed this a long time ago. He's being a lot more, like, he's a lot more aggressive. He's a lot more meaner. Wait, I might be more attracted to that, though.
Jesus Christ. Anyways.
I like Wicked Home cringe.
I know you were talking about earlier off the show about some similarities with Poltergeist you were talking about. Mm-hmm. What were they that you saw?
Besides it involving the child?
Well, yeah, I mean, you were talking about Poltergeist 2, the other side.
Well, like, you have, like, you know, the preacher dude.
Which, by the way, is the 30th anniversary of Poltergeist 2,
Yes,
the other
it
side
is.
today. Happy anniversary.
Makes me sad. But yeah, you got the... I will refer to the old man in Poltergeist as a demon, because he's a demon. You got the demon coming after the child. You got there's just no stopping him. Constantly keeps going and going and going. And this one, you got the lady in black coming after him. They try to make him forget. They're still going. Like, there's similarities, but to me, I don't consider them the same. But there's some people that will compare the two.
Yeah, and
I think there's a lot of differences. They fit in the same genre.
Well, and that's
maybe.
the biggest thing. If as an Insidious fan, I get crap for it all the time. It's just, oh my god, you like the Poltergeist ripoff, guys?
See, I don't consider it a Poltergeist ripoff.
It's really
it has
not.
similarities, but there's too many differences.
You're gonna get that with almost any like haunted house film. You can't do a haunted house film nowadays without someone saying it's a Poltergeist ripoff.
Yeah, I'm surprised people didn't say Amityville Horror.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I will say this though. Can we both agree that Insidious 2 is a decent film at the very least?
Compared to the
just
rest?
as a film in general, let's put it out there. As a horror film in general, can we say it's a good film?
Yeah,
I think
skip the first one and just go to this one.
There you go. We'll give you this. Go look up IMDb or Wikipedia, the first one. I'll give you that one. Just watch the second one. That is my favorite one. Which now brings us to Insidious Part 3, which is my least favorite one. I know you like it a lot, though.
Compared to the first one,
Good God. It is a prequel, already there, got some problems, to the previous films featuring a young girl named Quinn, who comes to Elise wanting to get in contact with her recently deceased mother. Elise, however, has given up doing anything of the sort due to an old woman in black, hint, hint, that resides in the further that wants to kill her. Quinn, however, has already tried contacting the dead on her own and opened herself up to malevolent spirits. After getting hit by a car and paralyzed within her room, she begins being haunted, and Elise must become the clairvoyant we see in Insidious Part 1 and 2 in order to save the young girl Quinn. So I'm just going to let you go at it. Why do you like Insidious 3 better than Part 1?
Because I like Elise's character. She's probably the only character I can tolerate in these movies.
Elise's character is awesome in all the movies, but you really thought her character in this one was better than the others?
It's sad seeing her this way. Like, you're seeing her what we're not used to seeing her as. Like, you know, in the other two movies, she's like ready to fight. She's all for it. And then in this one, you see her like, no. Like, she looks scared. And in the other one, she's not scared. She's never scared. And then in this one, you kind of see that other side to her, and she's alone. She lives with her dog. She doesn't want nothing to do with anything. She wants to help people, but she can't.
That made no sense to me because the opening of the film is a few weeks prior to the events in Part 1. Why the hell?
They messed up on that.
That changed everything because basically you're saying that...
Did it say a few weeks? I thought it said a few years.
It said a few weeks because that says to me that this badass, awesome Sigourney Weaver-like character for horror who...
Hey, you can have a 180 turnaround
in a few weeks.
You would be amazed.
And
some people could do it in a day.
I can't even agree at all on that. Fat Narcissus, I do thank you for saying third is not good at all. I didn't care for it at all either. This is a terrible film in my eyes. This one was the first one James Wan did not direct.
You can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. Lee Winnell, who wrote it, also directed. And I think the problem with him doing that was James Wan was not on the process at all. Because James Wan would come in with Lee Winnell to help write the script. So you already have a problem with this being a prequel and that says it's a few weeks set before the first two films.
I thought it was like...
No, because that was my first...
I thought it said it was supposed to be set in like 2007 and then the other films were like 2010. I could have sworn this said years.
No, it said
now
nothing.
I feel like I need to go look at it again.
That pissed me off to no end at the beginning when it said a few weeks because it basically told me, all right, this character who's so badass and that we've loved with Specs and Tucker, who they seem like a unit, ready to go and everything. They meet Tucker and Specs in this film. She meets them, and they are the worst characters. They suck. They're con artists. They don't have anything to do with the paranormal. And then a few weeks later in Part 1, they're ready to go. They're experts.
Well, yeah, now that you say it that way, yeah, it's not as... good, but I still was more entertained by this one than I was the first one.
Because Quinn was the most damn annoying character in the world.
I liked her dad.
I know. I hated all the characters in this movie. And the biggest
I don't
problem,
like her. She was stupid.
The biggest problem I had with this was the first two, in my opinion, are timeless movies because they don't rely on technology. The technology that is used in the Insidious films is homemade technology that could look like it comes from any time period. It is a timeless horror movie in that aspect. Much like with the Evil Dead remake, they don't show any technology in it, so you could say that that's any time period. This film relied so much on technology that the teenagers have Skype, they have cell phones, they're taking
She
selfies.
had a flip phone.
She took selfies of her food, for God's sakes.
They messed up the timeline now that you got me thinking about it.
They messed up the timeline horribly.
They did mess up
So
the
this, while the other two are timeless, this one is now aged. In a couple years, with whatever technology we have, this movie is going to look like crap. And they don't use any of the technology that is designed in the first two Insidious films. So everything is just kind of gone. Sure. All the spirit and love that I had for these first two films is destroyed here. And the worst part is part two has such a cliffhanger where Elise, as a ghost in the further, comes to a house and sees something terrifying in the corner of this house.
See, and I thought that's what originally part 3 was going to be.
That's what I thought too. And then all of a sudden it's a prequel. And Elise is scared because she's lost her husband, all this stuff that it just got really weird. And she is basically just a shut-in with a dog. And the one good thing I think about that damn dog is named Ed, after Ed Warren, Ed and Lorraine Warren, from the Warren Files, the Conjuring stuff.
Conjuring. Patrick Wilson plays Ed Warren.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing too, Carl says in part 2 that he hasn't seen her in a long time, but in part 3, a couple weeks before part 1, I
really did not notice the couple of weeks before thing. Like, that's making me like,
so
did I really not pay attention that much?
He pops up out of nowhere and is like, oh yeah, at least you should help this family. Good God.
Now I feel like I need to go back and be like, where did that couple of weeks? I could have sworn it said years.
You lose me at this couple of weeks thing, and you start degrading everything in the film with how these people met. Tucker has a mohawk in this film.
Badly done mohawk.
Badly, like, this is a fat guy going to a Motorhead concert that's never seen Motorhead kind of guy, mohawk. And then all of a sudden in part 1, it's fine. He's got his hair back and everything. I mean, that's nitpicking.
I really did not notice
that's
the week thing.
That's nitpicking
like,
at
now
that point,
I
but
keep
as soon as that
it.
opening credits popped up and said that, Jesus Christ, I just stopped caring.
Was there any moments you liked in it?
Honestly, like,
when
she broke her leg and she got hit, that was probably one of the most painful sequences I've ever seen.
I thought you said you liked him, like, and you say, I'm sadistic.
No. The other two I loved, the eye in the throat. I liked it, but I thought it was a ripoff because the possession.
Yeah, I was going to say the possession. That's exactly what I thought.
I love that director. They did that in that movie. And I liked
when she was breaking the cast off.
When she was breaking the cast off, it was pretty cool. The demon also in this movie looks like Dr. Satan from House of a Thousand Corpses, which is possibly my favorite messed up practical effects looking creature in the past two decades.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who he reminded me of. Nah, you just did it for me.
Seawar Cats has a good point. Once again, it sounds like the creators didn't watch their own movie. I highly agree with that, but I think once again the problem was James Wan was doing Fast 5 or whatever, and so he couldn't do the third one. So Lee Winnell just goes insane and makes this big piling turd.
Well, people technically still don't have to watch this one because it's not anything you
don't
already know.
I will say once again, the only two you need to watch are Insidious Part 1 and 2. Part 3, you don't need to watch at all because it's a prequel. It's like saying, oh, I need to watch Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
It's kind of like with Paranormal Activity. You technically do not need to watch...
The marked ones, was that it?
No. Oh, don't talk about that one.
Oh, my God.
Lord have mercy.
Vein there.
No. The Part 3, when it goes back into their childhood. I mean, you could watch it because you get a little bit of history there, but technically, do you need to? No.
Yeah. Well, and then... So I did like Elise when she's in the further and she like gets her robe together. She's like, "Let's go, bitch."
Oh yeah, I love that part.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, because like when she first goes back in there, at first she's like timid. She's strangling her, almost kills her. Then and then she comes back and then she's finally like, forget this. I'm going in. I don't care. I'm done.
She literally does one of these too. She's like, all right, let's go, bitch.
Yeah, and then the demon's like, okay, yeah, later. See you later. I'm gonna just walk over here because old lady's gone crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that made me laugh. I didn't. The Lady in Black looked different, by the way.
Yeah, she did. When they changed actors between the.
It wasn't the actor. It was the hair was the first thing I noticed. It was like a fro. and then the makeup was like they did not concentrate on that face very much, I noticed. And then when they did, I'm like, wait a minute, you look different.
Yeah. Needless to say, guys, I think I've changed Ash's mind that this is a terrible movie. Yes.
They're all terrible. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I don't
First and
like
second one, watch
the
'em.
Insidious films. But
I
if you're
love
gonna
them.
have me tell you which one to watch, I'm gonna tell you skip the first one. Don't bother with the prequel. Watch the second one because it's the only one I think that was executed properly.
I half agree, half disagree. Let's do part 1 and 2. Just watch those two and you're good to go.
Don't do
Now, that being said, with Adam Robital in charge, we want to take a little bit of time to talk about his first movie, The Taking of Deborah Logan, which is an awesome film. We just recently saw it. It's produced by Bryan Singer. It's a pretty decent film, and so he's going to be directing part 4. We have no idea what the story is. I've heard possibly Lee Winnell will come back to write, but I do like the fact that we're getting fresh blood in this franchise. So Ash, take it away on The Taking of Deborah Logan.
So a documentary crew agrees to pay Sarah and Deborah Logan money so the mother and daughter can keep their house, and in exchange get to film Deborah as she goes through treatment for Alzheimer's. As the Alzheimer's rapidly worsens, the documentary crew begins seeing very bizarre acts and strange nuances Deborah exhibits when no one is looking. They soon discover that Deborah has something in her past that she tried to cover up, but has resurfaced to not only haunt her, but her daughter Sarah.
I want to take a minute, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Fat Narcissus, you're my favorite. They concur with Freddy. Can I get an applause? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll give you an applause.
God, you're evil. All right, so this one was a movie on my radar for a long time. Huge fan of the Fango picks from Killer POV and stuff like that. They always told me, Taking of Deborah Logan. And I looked at it, and there's a bunch of memes and stuff online. Because there's a part where Deborah Logan's ghost character literally eats a little kid.
That's exactly what I saw. I was on Tumblr when I saw that, and I'm like,
see that
what
anywhere.
is this? I need to go watch this.
So it was always something in the back of my mind, but I just never thought to sat down and watch it. After seeing it, it's a very well-made movie. I was really surprised how it flowed, honestly, because it does not go in at all.
I consider it underrated.
It's very
people
underrated.
Really need to watch this movie.
It's on Netflix, by the way, guys.
That's where I watched it. Was Netflix.
So the thing is that I thought was really cool about it, it flows like a regular documentary you would watch anywhere else, and then all of a sudden turns into a horror movie. It at no point starts as a horror movie. The horror in of itself comes from the Alzheimer's, which if you've ever had known
really
anyone,
sad.
it's sad and really harsh to watch. And the weird thing is, Alzheimer's usually, if you forget stuff, Deborah Logan's Alzheimer's brings stuff back from the kind of craziness of her past. And her daughter, you find out, possibly has some cult ties. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But that's where Deborah Logan, as the Alzheimer's takes over, a demon takes over. It also has one of the most messed up endings I've seen in a long time. Not like,
I just got goosebumps when
yeah,
you
yeah.
said that.
Not just, it's not gory. It's not, oh my
it's
God,
simple
they
and
went there.
effective.
But it's so simple and so effective. And that is one of the most beautiful
That's
things
what I liked about
it.
this movie. She's so creepy looking on her own.
On her
They
own.
did not have to put much makeup on this woman to make
Deborah
her
Logan,
look creepy.
Oh God, the character
It's
of
so
Deborah Logan
simple.
herself is just so gangly. She's smaller, she's skinnier than Doug Jones. And if you know Doug Jones, he's the guy who played
That
Abe
tiny
Sapien
man.
from Hellboy. She is tiny and gangly. And just the Alzheimer's treatments in of itself for the first half of the movie are hard to watch. It hurts. You
It's
really
just so sad.
feel for these characters. The other thing I wanted to mention, like I said before, it's produced by Bryan Singer. Adam Robital, the director. This was a cool link that I kind of had to him. It's like 3 Degrees with Kevin Bacon, but with Freddy. I know Tim Sullivan, who directed 2001 Maniacs. He was a really cool guy. Also produced Detroit Rock City, the movie. He had Adam Robital direct the making of 2001 Maniacs, which is a really awesome documentary if you haven't seen it. But he also played one of the Maniacs in the film. And then, of course, Tim Sullivan directed the I Was a Teenage Werebear segment on Chillerama, and Adam Robital was in that. So he's got a lot going for him as indie cred for horror. This movie in of itself is so awesome that it just jettisons him.
I keep using the word simple. I don't know if that's like a good word to use, but Like when you watch movies, especially like found footage movies, because this is all with the handheld cameras and everything and all the setups, very similar Paranormal Activity or Blair Witch or Quarantine.
Which would be funny.
But it's done really well. Like
Yeah.
there's like, you know, when you watch Blair Witch or, you know, even with some of the Paranormal Activity movies, there's a lot of movement. And you're just like, dude, stop moving, stop. With this one, it's more like, just get the camera away. No, go that way. Go that way. I don't want to see this.
The characters are really smart in it.
They're very smart.
Because two of them straight up leave. They're like, no, you pay me
I like
double
that
or I
one
get
dude.
the hell out of here.
That one dude's like, nope, I'm done. Nope,
Yeah.
we're gone. I'm not sticking around
and
at all.
that's something I hate in found footage. Because
Let's investigate.
Let's investigate this and find out what we can do, and maybe we're all gonna die.
Old lady has gone crazy.
it's one of the worst things. That's always throws me off with found footage. I'm just like, no, we're done with this.
This is different for found footage.
Yeah.
I consider it.
What?
It's still found footage film, but I consider it worthy.
Well, and the
compared
thing,
to some found
the
footage
thing they
films.
put at the beginning too is they say, oh, well, this isn't just found footage. This is mixed with footage we found plus documentary stuff we found. Like they find the footage
flows
from a bunch of
I
other
guess
places.
would be another way to put it. It flows well. It's not choppy. You know
Yeah.
how with some movies that like it's really choppy. It's kind of everywhere. This one, it flows well. It's simple but effective. The makeup effects in this movie are fantastic, in my opinion. And like she's just so creepy on her own. The actress that plays her is already creepy looking,
Yeah.
even when she's, because you know you get to see what she looked like before the Alzheimer's, and you get to see how she was. She was still kind of creepy looking when she was healthy, and then
Yeah.
when you see her now, you're just like, dude.
Well, and
I don't wanna be in the house
I will
with
say
you.
this: as much as I'm kissing Adam Robital's ass right now,
As always.
he also wrote Paranormal Activity: Ghost Dimension. I will say this: I have not seen that one. It's the final installment.
I've seen it.
Is it as bad as everyone says? Plot holes beyond belief. Does it end the franchise though, like they say it's supposed to though?
No.
Jesus Christ!
They could easily make another one if they wanted to, and I've been hearing that they might.
They really don't need another
No,
one.
they should have stopped after 3. They should have just stopped after 3.
How many were they on at 8 at that point?
No, there's first one, second one, prequel, the spin-off, the
Mark
fourth
ones.
one. There's 6. Sorry, I had to think about that for a
That's
second.
too much
2 of them
already.
I don't count. So there's 6 of them. Stop at after 3. After the prequel, stop watching those movies.
Yeah. So
They're fun to watch if you just are bored.
let me put it to you this way, guys. I'm excited for Adam Robital to be doing this film because I do think they need fresh blood directing if James Wan's not going to come back. I'm a little skeptical because right now he's 50-50 with me. Love taking Deborah Logan. Don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I think it's
It's worthy.
it's a cool hidden gem that we found. Ghost Dimension, I do not really care about. Probably not going to watch it.
Don't bother.
Not going to bother after that now.
Don't bother.
I will put this out there as
I
well,
won't
though.
torture you that much.
I think we need Don Coscarelli from the Phantasm films to be doing an Insidious film because they are very similar. And Don Coscarelli knows how to make everything go bat crazy.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents, ladies and gentlemen.
You
but
need to watch Taking to Deborah Logan.
Definitely
and
go
then get
check
back
out.
to us and
tell us what you think on that one because I would love
Especially
to hear what
the
some of you guys
ending.
think. But yeah, Taking Deborah Logan on Netflix right now. Today, of course, is May 25th, which is also the birthday of Game of Thrones and Constantine director Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall has also done a ton of awesome little genre films. He did Tales of Halloween, which he had a segment in that one. He did The Descent, and of course, my possibly third favorite werewolf movie of all time, Dog Soldiers. We like to say happy birthday, Neil Marshall.
Happy
Neil.
birthday.
Thank you for everything you give us. And we also like to take this minute to talk about his directorial debut with Dog Soldiers. And in Dog Soldiers, we have 6 British Army soldiers who are dropped in the Scottish Highlands for a routine training mission. Unbeknownst to them, an elite Black Ops unit has also been dropped there to take out something that is very monstrous, that is possibly lycanthrope. They stumble upon the elite squad, and of course, they are torn to ribbons. And they have to hole up in a cabin with the survivors as the werewolves assault the cabin. It is glorious. It is gory. It is practical giant werewolves. That
They are fantastic
10 feet
looking.
tall. This is one of my favorite werewolf movies of all time. Ash, this is one of your first times. This is actually your first time seeing this movie, isn't
It
it?
was my first time seeing it.
What did you think? And I am so happy I got to introduce this movie to you.
I actually liked it. I went in kind of scared because of the title. Like sometimes the titles throw me off. Like because when I hear Dog Soldiers, I think sci-fi horror. I can't help it. I think it, and I'm just like, okay, let's just give this a chance. Sit here and watch it. I'm looking at the time limit on it. I'm like, okay, that's a decent amount of time for a film. And then as I'm watching it, I was rather impressed with it.
So you're impressed by something I gave you.
Yes.
Something that I said was
Yes.
awesome. You're like, I think it's awesome too.
Yes, I'll give you that credit.
Can I have trumpets playing in the background?
No,
Ah, you suck.
I bite.
That's true. So yeah, Dog Soldiers, one of the best werewolf movies I have ever seen. One of my favorite parts. I was actually discussing this with Ash earlier. They're basically the soldiers they're literally have intestines falling out of them, and they're duct taping because they got nothing else to do.
Duct tape and super glue.
Oh my god, it is so great.
You can't super glue
And
that.
one of my favorite scenes is they're trying to hammer a bunch of boards to take down all
They
the
barricaded
windows.
themselves
to
in a
barricade
house.
themselves. And this werewolf paw just kind of slides in perfectly, and this dude's hammering the thing, and all of a sudden he just starts going at the werewolf paw like, I hate you,
He's
you
like,
mother-"
I'm done.
Like, I cannot utter the wonderful string of profanities that he says in a British accent, but it is glorious. It is.
The accent what makes it funnier.
Oh my god, yes it
If
does.
an American does it, it's not as funny.
Yeah, well,
Especially with their term of vulgar words.
Oh,
makes
yeah.
it just so much funnier.
this also has one of my favorite monologues ever. I actually did this monologue back when I was in theater school. It was a whole monologue about how one of their fellow soldiers, he went on a mission, I think Iraq or something like that, and the night before he got a tattoo of Satan on his ass, and he would say, yeah, you know, because Satan's always got a little piece of my ass.
He said God has his soul, but Satan has his
Satan
flesh.
has his flesh, yeah. And so they're telling this story around a campfire, so old school, awesome. And he goes, well, we were going out one night for a little routine patrol, and he blew up on a landmine. Took us 8 hours to sift through everything. You couldn't even find anything that looked any kind of resemblance like him. But then every now and then you come across a piece that was kind of similar to something you know, something you recognize. And this one piece we found, perfect, preserved piece, was Satan right there laughing at us. So I guess you could say Satan did have him, just not all of them. And you're like, whoa, this is awesome.
I just like how all the guys are just sitting there, and then the other one's like, okay, I'm gonna crack a joke now.
Yeah.
Because this is awkward.
Well, and then the other two things I love, that, and I kind of wonder how this would have gone, because they both these actors would have been perfect in this movie. As much as I love the actors in it, Simon Pegg turned down the main role to go do Shaun of the Dead. Love Shaun of the Dead, but that would have been an interesting choice because he's
I
got
was to
the
say, I
same,
love Shaun of the Dead.
they kind of got the same vibe and the same comedy in it. This one I
That dark
thought was
humor.
rather funny. Jason Statham almost played a part in the movie, but he turned it down for Ghosts of Mars. Which
Which
all right,
I also like that movie.
do we have any
too.
Ghosts of Mars fans in the chat? Please tell
Come
us.
on,
I
at
love
least
Carpenter.
one.
I gotta give some Carpenter love at some point here.
I know people hated that movie, but I liked it. If
It's-
it comes on, I watch it. It has its faults, but I can ignore them.
I mean, it's just a goofy, fun movie. But this one,
And I like the bad guy.
oh man, some of the shots. Now, Scream Factory recently put out a special edition of Dog Soldiers. And before that, I believe it was almost impossible movie to find on DVD and Blu-ray, because I think when it came to the States, it was booked as a Sci-Fi Channel original movie, which kept me away from it for a long time. But you watch that movie and there's no way in hell with the acting, the
No,
writing,
it's
the
not
directing.
sci-fi.
And Neil Marshall has even gone and stated that the Scream Factory Special Edition is his favorite version because of how crappy the technology he was using to film it. It was his first movie. He actually prefers the Scream Factory Edition because the way they fixed it in post on the Blu-ray, the scenes look like the way he wanted them to be shot with the lighting. Because he was a novice at lighting, he didn't really know it too
Yeah.
well, and the footage he was using was bad. So it really was cool to see that transition. And when I rewatched it on the Blu-ray Special Edition, I saw it, and it was so much more gratifying. It's just such a fun movie. And I know
enjoyed it.
you were talking about, I know you want to go on a rant about CGI real quick on this, right?
Yes, because there's little to no CGI in this, and that's what I like about it also. Because sometimes, again, like I've mentioned tons of times, in horror movies, they tend to take the CGI a little too far. This was, I think almost all of it was practical effects set for maybe like one or two things, and I didn't even notice which parts were actually the CGI. Usually I can pick up on it. I'm assuming maybe some of the blood might have
Yeah.
been CGI, and
Just
that's
some
about
pickup
it.
stuff.
Yeah, because the actors in the werewolf suits, I guess would be a way to put it. That there's no CGI.
They're so cool looking.
They in a sense of how to compare this movie to other movies, if you haven't seen it, I would put it into the same, I guess, tone as either American Werewolf in London or Paris or The Howling, even Silver Bullet, when it comes to like practical effects and the tone of it and the dark humor of it, it fits within those films.
Rough as Toast says American Werewolf in London is his fave, so that would go with you. I would say my faves would be Howling, just because I'm a huge Joe Dante geek, American Werewolf in London, and Dog Soldiers. Those would be my top 3 werewolf movies right there. We also have See War Cats has never seen Ghosts of Mars. It's definitely worth a check out, man. You could probably find it for like $1 at Walmart.
You just buy it.
Just give Carpenter some money. That's what I'm going to say. And with Carpenter and the need to give him money, we wanted to give a little love with our home video release this week. Take it away,
Yes,
Ash.
so for this week, I wanted to check out Screams Factory's special edition release of John Carpenter's remake of Village of the Damned. The coastal town of Midwich one day sees a force make the entire town fall asleep. When the town awakens, accidents have occurred, but it also leaves 10 women pregnant mysteriously. Fast forward 9 months later, the children are born under government watch and the care of Dr. Susan Werner. As the children grow, they develop strange psychic powers, as well as all having superior intelligence and strange pale skin and white hair. The children frighten the whole town, including their parents. The government knows where they came from, but continues to study them, which leads to more accidents in the town.
So the first time I saw this movie, it was on my John Carpenter kick. It was when I was first studying horror movies back in like, I guess
Ages ago.
I don't even know at this point. But I gotten Village of the Damned, Vampires, and Ghosts of Mars.
I love vampires.
Which those are all his 90s stuff.
I love vampires.
And they're not his best films. No. But I think what I watched them on just regular DVD. The transfers were a little crappy. And I remember Village of the Damned especially being just like, what the hell am I watching? This
it's
the
one
way
of those movies.
It wasn't even the story when I first saw it. It was the way it was shot. And it was really weird, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but I was so intrigued because it had Christopher Reeve as the main character. You had Kirstie Alley, and you had Mark Hamill, and I'm like the biggest
Mark Hamill's
Star Wars fan ever.
there.
And he's the preacher. Whatever's the matter? And he kind of has that Joker voice, but not there. So I kind of watched it once and just put it in the back of my mind, like, whatever. Recently, after Frightmare Weekend, I had some cash left over. I was like, all right, let's go pick up Village of the Damned Blu-ray Scream Factory put out, because once again, got to give Carpenter some love. I love the man. Picked it up, and the Blu-ray transfer is so beautiful. I don't know what I was thinking that it was shot bad, because it is a really nice shot movie. But I just think the DVD transfer compared to the Blu-ray transfer, which coming from me, that says a lot, because most of the time I don't even notice that stuff, is really good. And the children in that movie are so friggin' creepy.
If I was to ever have children,
right there,
probably because they're pale, they got creepy eyeballs.
It's like Ash's
People
whole
fear them.
litter right there.
End of the world right there.
I also love its Canby Effects group. You can't go wrong with them. Guys in Evil Dead 2. Greg Nicotero is working on Walking Dead right now, so they know their way around stuff.
Favorite show ever.
Good God, don't even mention that. So there's some pretty gory stuff in it compared to the original, because the original is black and white, and there's little to no gore in it. They actually had to tone it down a bit because Canby just kind of went to town. There's one scene where the whole town falls asleep, and there's a guy who passes out on a grill, and it is so nasty looking, but it's so much fun, this movie. You also have Thomas Dekker, who many of you probably don't know, but he played John Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. He plays one of the little kids. He plays the main kid, and he's got really cool special features on the Scream Factory edition where he's talking about how the thing he hated the most when the movie came out was a lot of critics were talking crap about their look. Like, oh, you can tell those are wigs. You can tell, all
well, they're
this
not
stuff.
supposed to be human looking anyway.
But the thing I love was Thomas Dekker just went off on whoever was interviewing him and was just like, they weren't wigs. I dyed my hair as an 8-year-old. It sucked.
How do they get it that white?
I know. It's so
without
freaky
it
looking.
falling out. I need to find
I
that
didn't even
hairstylist.
think about that one. Oh my God.
because that requires bleaching, and take it from someone who used to dye their hair a lot. Bleaching is damaging and can literally cause hair loss.
Oh, yeah.
How do they get their hair to the color of my skin? That's crazy.
How did they get the hair to color of your skin? That is a fact right there, ladies and gentlemen.
That's crazy.
So what did you had you seen this before?
Yeah, I've seen this movie multiple times.
Yeah, I forgot you had told me about that. You're like, I've got this whole thing memorized.
I've seen this movie so many times. Creepy children, adults fearing the children. Let's
That's
kill
like
the
your
children.
life right there.
Anything that involves killing of children,
There
I
was a
tend to
whole
watch.
thing with this. I think another reason that the movie got panned when it came out was the ending is they blow up a whole house full of kids because they're alien kids. And
Creepy
alien kids at that.
Sadistic. Alien.
Torture you
That's
and
why
make
I
you
like
do
them.
whatever.
They're sadistic and they make you do what they want.
they're your
I wish I
spawn.
had that ability.
They're your spawn,
Can you
basically.
Imagine what you could do with that.
But there was a I think it was maybe it was a Columbine shooting or something going on. It's about a bunch of kids dying, and so
No telling now.
at this point, and that just destroyed the whole movie.
Of course
It didn't get any play. They said, "Oh, how could Carpenter's lost his mind? He killed kids in a movie." Which I'm like, did you not see Assault on Precinct 13? They shot a kid
And
through
you
an
don't
ice cream cone.
even technically see
This
them die.
This is a very tame Carpenter movie on the gore, and there's no swearing in it. He made it to be
Yeah.
PG-13. And for those of
Should've
you who
been
don't
rated
know, Christopher Reeve, I'm a huge old school Superman fan. This is his last film before he got debilitated, before the horse fell on him and everything.
Yeah.
And he's excellent in this movie. As well as Mark Hamill plays he's on that verge of Joker, but with the loving care, Jedi-likeness of Luke Skywalker. And it's such a creepy
priest.
combo. So I highly recommend the Scream Factory release of Village of
For
the
a
Damned.
remake, it's a decent remake.
And at this point, this was the second Alien type movie that Carpenter remade, and I think it sucks for Carpenter because he straight up, The Thing got critically panned, Village of the Damned got critically panned. If he remakes a movie, everyone's going to talk crap about it, but then praise it 20 years later.
Yeah, they're executed well though.
They really
it's just
are.
Bad timing on his part, I guess, would be.
Well, I mean, The Thing went up against E.T., Village of the Damned went up against, that 90s, we got to do this whole teen drama thing for horror movies. Well, I like some of them, like Scream.
I love Scream. I know Scream gets a lot of hate, but I love Scream.
It didn't need to be the whole decade. Let me rephrase that like that.
No, or I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, exactly. So that is our pick for the week for home video release. Now I have the most exciting news. I found out 3 a.m. from 2 sources on Monday. Woke up to it was the happiest wake up at 3 a.m.
I even tagged him on one.
Tagged me on it. For some friends at Blumhouse and Ashley, all over their Facebook page, John Carpenter is returning to Halloween. Now, before you freak out about that, it's not what you think.
Before you act like him.
Where I cried pretty much. John Carpenter is going to executive produce a brand new Halloween movie. Not only that, he's going to score it. That is right. With his tour this summer, his Lost Themes 1 and 2 albums, he will be scoring a new Halloween film. And the people who own it right now, they're in good hands. Blumhouse Studios, who has given us Insidious, the Paranormal Activity franchise, Mike Flanagan's Hush, basically every horror movie to come out in the past 5 to 6 years, Blumhouse has done. Oculus, another one. They have acquired the rights to Halloween with a partnership with Miramax Films and Malik Akkad, the son of Mustafa Akkad, who has done every single Halloween film since its inception. This is amazing news right here because the Weinstein Company had it in limbo forever. You had the guys who wrote the Feast movies and the Collection movies writing a new film. I guess that's scrapped now. Rob Zombie was thinking to come back. That's scrapped now. It is back at its home, ladies and gentlemen. Not only that, but in the past, that was 48 hours ago, in the past 24 hours, I have 2 people who are in line for the directing gig. We have Mike Flanagan. He's in serious talks with Blumhouse. He had the huge success with Oculus, which was a Blumhouse feature film they put out in theaters that Stephen King praised as one of his favorite films of the year. Then he went on to do the Netflix hit Hush, which we talked about a couple episodes back. That was a huge hit. Serial killer, paranormal. He's got a little bit of both now. He is in serious talks with Blumhouse to continue that partnership for Halloween. The one, though, that made me cry, that straight up made me...
I'm just clarifying that I didn't make him cry.
I flipped a poo. I can't
Lord
swear
have
on
mercy.
here. I'm sorry. We have the director of You're Next and The Guest and The Woods. One of the greatest directors of our time, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Wingard. He also did the VHS franchises. He is in serious talks. He tweeted up a storm, putting photos and videos of the Halloween movies, just going crazy. And so it got everyone wondering, is he in talks with Blumhouse as well? Because his career has just gone skyrocketing. He's supposed to be doing the Death Note US remake coming up soon. This might be on the docket. After watching The Guest and You're Next, I do not think there's anyone better for this film than Adam Wingard. While I like Mike Flanagan's Oculus, it's a weird, messed up movie. And while I like Hush OK, which we both were like on it,
It had its moments.
Adam Wingard is the obvious perfect choice.
And also, can we get an applause for his fanboying that just happened just now?
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, that's my little rant about it. Ash, what are your thoughts? Your 2 cents.
I'm just wondering, because from everything I've been reading, is it a reboot of the Halloween series since Rob Zombie butchered it?
Whoa.
Or is it a sequel to the rest of the Halloween films? And if it is a sequel, which one exactly is it following? Because we all remember Resurrection.
Yeah, that movie was terrible. We do have some questions real quick. Hoped for Death, 31 is scrapped. No, not 31 is still coming out. It actually, I think, has a release date of September or November.
It's one
It was
of
just recently talked about. I'm one of the few that does like the Halloween movies Rob Zombie's put out. I do not think they are better than the originals. I like them as their own thing. That being said, the Nightmare on Elm remake, ugh, Jesus.
Wait, Did someone say they like the remake of Elm Street?
409 like he's Rob Zombie, and I like he 409.
I
so-
like Rob Zombie. I should clarify this because people keep getting confused when I say I hate his films. Apparently, that makes me hate him as a person. No.
You hate Rob Zombie.
No. I love Rob Zombie. I adore the man. Sometimes his music's questionable. His films, however, I'm not a huge fan of. It took me a long time to like A House of a Thousand Corpses. It had to grow on me. I actually like Devil's Rejects more than A House of a Thousand
Devil's
Corpses.
Rejects
When
is
it
the
comes to the
Godfather
Halloween
2 of
films,
horror.
if this was real, I would have used it on him because of those freaking movies.
Oh my God.
I could have done a better Halloween film than him because with him, he overuses, no offense to his wife, he overuses her. I love swear words. Swear words are sentence enhancers, but he overuses them so much. And he overuses nudity. And it's just, some of the acting is just, it looks like one of his music videos. His movies do not need to look like his music videos.
I kind of liked it though, but
End of rant.
That's just me.
I did not like the Halloween
Rough as
movies.
Toast. You've never seen the Elm Street remake? Don't see it. It's the
Don't.
worst god awful thing. The entire cast and crew hate that movie.
Don't. I love him, but he's not Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Jackie Earle Haley, I love you,
Well-
but you are not Krueger.
So before we go too off topic here with all the hatred of Rob Zombie and Nightmare on Elm Street,
Better not
remake,
touch this.
You're talking about where are they going to take
Yeah,
it from?
exactly. Like where? Because from what I've been reading, they're saying sequel, but they're not saying sequel to what. If it is a sequel, they're not saying which one exactly is it
I
following.
know for a while the guys who are writing the remake at the Weinstein Company were talking about it being a sequel to possibly part 4 or 5.
See, because that would make sense.
And I would be down to continue the Daniel Harris storyline.
Because then we could completely ignore the rest of them, especially Resurrection. We can ignore what happened in that one.
You know, and honestly, I like all of the Halloween films except for Resurrection. Curse
See,
of Michael
I didn't
Myers.
really like part 3,
I love part 3.
which I know is like a blasphemy.
It's not a
amongst
dude.
horror
I'm like the
fans.
only person that likes part 3.
Really? Because I
apparently.
always get crap for not liking part 3.
Well, okay, so the thing you got to remember with the Halloween franchise, it was supposed to be 2 movies per storyline.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Michael Myers storyline with part 1 and 2. Part 3 was supposed to branch off with a part 3 and 4 for its own storyline, and there's going to be a third one about vampires, which I think eventually became John Carpenter's Vampires. And so many people were pissed off Michael Myers wasn't in part 3 that they went with part 4 and 5.
Which
Now,
I liked part 4 and 5.
I like part 4 and 5 too, but I love part 3 as its own thing. It is not part of the Halloween franchise.
I was going to say, I don't consider it part of the Halloween franchise.
It's its own movie. It's Season the Witch.
I consider
basically.
part 4, part 3, and part 5, part 4.
That was a confusing statement, but I'll go with it. Whatever. Now,
Replace part 3 with
have you
part
seen
4.
Curse of Michael Myers with Paul Rudd? Because everyone forgets that one. It's right after part 5. It is half-assedly explaining the dude who comes and takes Michael Myers and Jamie Lloyd at the end of part 5.
Oh my goodness, now I'm sitting here thinking about it. I know I've seen all of them, but I don't think I've seen that one enough to be like, yeah, I remember that one. Because I always watch part 4. I always watch part 1, 4, and 5 more than the rest. Like,
Yeah.
those are the main ones I constantly focus on. And I sometimes give H2O a little love.
I recently rewatched H2O, and I love the idea of Jamie Lee Curtis coming back 20 years later and
'Cause I
doing her
love
own thing.
her.
I love Jamie Lee Curtis, and that's the thing I want to see is let's just pretend Resurrection didn't happen. Busta Rhymes, Tyra Banks, all that crap, none of it.
None of that happened.
And Jamie Lee Curtis is still alive because that was the worst god-awful idea to ever do.
That made me
mad.
mad.
5 minutes in the movie, we kill Jamie Lee Curtis, the protagonist of the Halloween franchise, the final girl for 3 decades since the first movie, and we just kill her like it's nothing. And then Michael Myers is like, I'm gonna go kill a bunch of dudes making a reality show.
I'm gonna go back to my house because that's what I
It just didn't make sense. So for this new one, I would love to see them continue some of the older storylines with part 4 and 5. Possibly, you know what? The thing I would love to see, let's have Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, and Jamie Lloyd, Daniel Harris's character, finally meet. That is her daughter.
I would be all for
Let's
that.
see that. That's the movie
Because
I
I
want to see.
love Daniel Harris and I love Jamie Lee Curtis. I am totally down.
That
for
would be the Scream Queen team that I want to see. And I think Adam Wingard, being the huge fan he is, could do that. The other thing I could see with Adam Wingard, because he also posted some scenes from Halloween 3, he could finally tie all those movies together in one coherent movie. And that would be another cool thing to see.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
As long as it's just not like Rob Zombies.
well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, some Rob Zombie hate here.
His movies, not him as a person. Just to clarify again before I get messages.
Oh, you hate Rob Zombie.
I hate his movies, and I will argue with you until the death about those movies.
So, yeah. Anyways,
I'll use my machete on him.
speaking of, we do have one bit of sad news to end the show on, Ash.
That is true. I'll let you
Let me do it.
deliver a bad news.
So Joel Fleischager is not a actor most people know off the bat. If you're a big hardcore old school horror fan, you might know him from some really indie movies by the name of Troma Entertainment. He's an actor who weighed in at 500 pounds and he became Troma's biggest action star. He died today at age 62, passed away Monday at the Montefiore Medical Center in the Bronx, New York. Fleischager made his name starring in the cult classic Toxic Avenger franchise, along with films including Poultrygeist, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, Terra Firma, and Romeo and Juliet. If you guys aren't familiar with Troma Entertainment, it is pretty much the schlockiest of schlock, on par with Roger Corman, but it's kind of the so bad it's good. Toxic Avenger by Lloyd Kaufman. It is New Jersey's first superhero. So it's a fun, stupid franchise. It's a fun, stupid studio.
And it has
pretty
its
much.
place in old
It has
school
its
horror.
place in old school horror. It gave us Joe Lynch, who's delivered us Knights of Badassdom. He's in the Holliston TV series. James Gunn, right there. He came from Troma with Romeo and Juliet. So we want to take a minute and say, rest in peace, Mr. Fleischager, and thanks for all the good times. All right, guys, that concludes our show. But I see we have one question real quick, and Bayo Network asks, best Halloween movie. What's your favorite Halloween movie?
The first one and the fourth one.
First one and the fourth one? Oh, I go, yeah, actually, I'd probably go first, fourth, possibly third. Second one I like a lot, but I get bored in the hospital stuff.
Yeah, I do too.
But other than that, I'll say first and fourth. Third might be my second favorite just because it's so insane. And she's ready to kill me on that.
You know it.
Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in to the Nerd Ninja Horror Show and taking another trip through everything that is horror.
And if you have anything to add to any of these topics, feel free to continue this discussion outside of the show on any social media using the handle NerdNinjaTV.
And just a reminder that submissions are open for our weekly cosplay contests. So head over to nerdninja.com to submit your picture and cast your vote, and then tune in to the Nerd Ninja Show featuring moi on Tuesday at 8:30 for the
Bring
finalist
some of the
competition.
horror cosplays into this, people.
Yes, there was some
Horror representation.
There was some Warboy stuff in there too. It was pretty awesome. Anyways, we'll be live that night to determine the winner. She has been Ash Von Horror. I have been your Fright Master, Freddie Ruiz, and we thank you for watching the Nerd Ninja Horror Show. Scary dreams, guys.
Bye.
Halloween forever.